Good day and welcome to a post-All-Star Tuesday edition of the P&B Sports Show. I'm your host, Aroko Tom, and the NBA world is officially on fire. We've just come off a 75th anniversary All-Star weekend in Los Angeles that gave a glimpse of a terrifyingly fast future, but we've also entered a regular season stretch where losing might be more valuable than winning. Joining me today to break it all down, we have a man who understands the pulse of the game from Delta State to the global stage, Nigerian basketball stakeholder and top analyst. Moody is back with us. And of course, our tactical engine room and in-house sports analyst, Abel Sunday, will be joining us later in the program and is ready to crunch the numbers. Welcome, Moody.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. Always a pleasure. You know, they say the future is now, but in the NBA right now, the future is actually June 2026. Think about what we just saw. On one hand, Anthony Edwards and the USA Stars didn't just win the All-Star tournament. They humiliated the veterans 47-21. It was a physical changing of the guard that felt more like a takeover. The speed, the bounce, the hunger, it was all there. But on the other hand, we have a league office that is handing out fines like parking tickets, $500,000 to the Utah Jazz and $100,000 to the Pacers, all because they tried to manage their roster right into the part of AJ Diambanta and Cameron Boozer. So here is the burning question for our show today. Has the NBA finally fixed the All-Star Games effort problems, only to find that the regular season product is being cannibalized by the most aggressive tanking race we've ever seen? Is it time to blow up the lottery and move to the wheel, or is it overt tanking just the price of admission for a generational superstar? This is P&B Sports Show. Let's break it all down. Welcome to the show once again, Moody. You know, it's always a pleasure having you here, and welcome also, Abel, our own in-house sports analyst. Like I like to call you, the godfather of sports.
It's a pleasure. Mr. Moody, good morning. And I believe Wari is doing well, right? Wari is doing you well, rather. Yeah, Wari is doing well. Well, sorry.
Okay, so let's get right into it. You know, we've come out and seen that there has been a fine for the Utah Jazz, and for the Indiana Pacers, the Utah Jazz $500,000, and the Indiana Pacers $100,000 as well. I'm going to start with you, Moody. Is this price enough to pay, you know, to get a generational player like the likes of AJ Diambanta and Cameron Boozer, those players that have been ranked, you know, to be number one and number two? And I don't think in the NBA we've ever seen in like how many seasons drafts we've ever seen players that have been predicted to be over $1 billion in value, players that are already in college and they are earning millions of dollars already. What do you think? Do you think that the $500,000 is enough a fine to pay, you know, to be rewarded with a player like AJ Diambanta and Cameron Boozer?
I don't think the fine is not like the fine is actually it's not based on yourself. The problem indeed an NBA problem. You know, $500,000, $100,000, it's not going to think you get it. You get the grand page, you don't have to shop, you get it in the sense of these are generational talent. And let's not forget, years, the Dallas average actually had a fine for something like this for $750,000. And they had a plan. So, you know, these NBA teams are known as, you know, having a player like that, $100,000, $500,000.
Okay, fantastic. Now I'm going to come over to you, Abel. You know, as a basketball lover, because we know that apart from being a football lover, you're also a basketball lover. What do you think? Do you think that, you know, like keeping your best players on the bench from a basketball standpoint is the right thing to do, knowing fully well that you are going to get the best player in the next draft that's in June 2026?
You know, a lot of teams have to play their cards very well, and we human beings we try to look at what can favor us. When we sit down and analyze it better, we cannot choose the routes that might favor us. Like you rightly said,
$500 might be nothing for them to get. They know what they are going to get out of that player within time. And some of these teams, they project 5 to 10 years, and they try to see where they will finish so that they can get a better player during the during the top
the top draft pick.
Yeah, the draft. So they know where they rank them. They know they could pick the best before others. And but generally, I think NBA did that just for. I'm just looking at it from the other angle. NBA did that just because they want to see a balance. Those teams that are struggling, they should try to pick a better player so that they can better their season ahead. But you see, on the other way, we are abusing it now. They see how they do. You just sit down your best players on the bench so that you finish low and go and pick the better player. That's human being for us. But I think there should be a stiffer punishment than what they just given them.
Okay, so yes, let's get to it. Talking about stiffer punishments, I'm going to ask you, Moody, don't you think that instead of finding these billion dollar organizations, $500,000, $750,000, $100,000, and the likes, don't you think that instead of finding them that they should just give them the penalty of, okay, we are going to strip you people of your draft picks and place you people lower in the next drafts moving forward?
Yeah, a lot of analysts have actually come up with different solutions. That's what I'm mentioning. Like, why don't we just strip people tanking of their draft picks? So there's no incentive to, tank. But there's a dilemma here because for the team owner and boardroom's perspective, and the way the NBA is structured is, if you're not making playoffs, if you're not going to make it, there's nothing for you to fight for again and then, because you want to get. And then again, one of the problems we have this year, I go back to the draft. So let's not even forget why the tanking is there, because this draft crowd, this next one is a really, really special draft class. And analysts are projecting that after this draft class, the next two are not really spectacular. Just like the one we had for Wembanyama 2 years ago. You saw how teams were tanking, especially like I said, a lot of parties were there. They have to sit down on their players for the last game before the play, so they couldn't make the play.
Yes.
One of the problems is from the board's perspective, they are doing what they are looking out for themselves, but from the integrity of the game and from the farm's perspective and the paying customers, because I can imagine me going to pay tickets on any game. I came to see like the Yama or something like that. That's the thing where it's at now. It's really, really a bad look for the game, but I think they need to find a solution. Stripping players, stripping draft picks would already solve the problem. I really don't know. Because the NBA has tried different things, It used to be the will, it was the teams that finished last, they had a higher percentage, and then they even took it up, but things will find creative ways. They're not completely free.
Okay.
So I think the NBA needs to fix. I don't know, they need to just sit down and think of a way, to really fix this problem. Because it's not going away anytime soon. These are just band 850s they're doing.
Okay, fantastic. Abel, Moody just mentioned something. He said different analysts have come up with ways to stop this problem, of keeping players on the bench just to get these lottery picks in the NBA draft. And some people have rightly said that moving forward, maybe they should go back to the wheel system, whereby out of the 60 drafts that you get for the first round and second round, that each team knows that next year I'm going to get the first pick. Next 2 years I'm going to get the 5th pick. Next 3 years I'm going to get this particular pick. Do you think that they should move from the lottery system to the wheel system, or do you think that the lottery system is better? What do you think the solution is, in your own opinion?
I think I will stand with. I share some sentiment with Moody. That would be better, because with that, that it will eventually get to your turn, no matter what. So it's going to go around. So it will eventually get to your turn, not necessarily mean that, okay, I need to try to manipulate my way to get a better listing. But when you go that, definitely it will get to my turn. Even if I'm not making the first or second pick this time, I know maybe in 10 years' time it will get to my turn. In 5 years, the case may be, and you get what I think. I share some sentiment with Moody. If that's if they can go back to that.
Okay, fantastic. Moody, I think that I actually share the same sentiment with the both of you. But I think there's one question that we have to ask. Will the wheel system be viable over time, knowing fully well that teams can go behind can go through the back door, and they can trade players and add their draft picks moving forward? Do you think that is the right way to go moving forward, or should they just cut down those backdoor deals that go behind the scenes of trading future picks?
Well, like I said, yeah, look, even the whole system too, it looks like you might have no benefit, but even on the long run, it's still, I don't think the viable team that will fix this problem because, some teams, so if you're going to be a bad team for the next 10 years and then some teams can actually, for example, a team like the Lakers, I don't see they won't pick earlier than you and you're a bad team. So it looks like you might have to be a bad team for a long time, and I don't know if the owners will really agree with that, or teams, governors will agree with that. So, look, way back, I've actually preferred the solution, but it's very radical. I don't think nobody's going to take it maybe. It's just like what happened in football relegation. But that's not part of it. You see, the thing that gives the EPL complete team is that even your positioning matters. You don't want to be relegated to division 1 or 2.
Yes.
So that has kept the EPL competitive. That's why I see on the last day everybody's fighting for something, fighting to make the Champions League, fighting to, so there's always a fight, except when you know that, you're out of it and you're just playing with everybody. So the NBA, like I said, it's one of those things that they really need to sit down and have a long-term thinking and approach to solve, because this problem has been there for a very long time. It's not, in 2019, we actually take out the lottery style, and we see how the problem 2 years ago. But now and then, why this problem gets pronounced in some lottery years or draft years, it's because of the caliber of players coming in. Like I said, this next one is going to be really tough. So that's why this time teams are really, we need to get our hands on this guy. Because you might not see this intensity of this tanking and teams tinkering with their roster after this draft pick, because the next 2 ones, they don't look really exciting. Like the one that brought Ronnie James in, that was a very exciting draft pick. So it's something the NBA needs to sit down with the owners and have a really long-term approach to solve the problem.
Okay, fantastic. But still talking about these teams. There's a particular team that decided to stand out. We have a team like the Pacers, a team that made it to the finals for the last NBA season with Pascal Siakam, one of their best players. In fact, he's the milestone when it comes to the NBA right now in the Pacers. What do you think? Don't you think that moving forward that they should just play Pascal Siakam? And also, do you think that the NBA reached too far? After the Pacers medical team had checked Pascal Siakam and saw that he was and said that okay, that he still needs some time to heal. But the NBA medical team said, you know what, this guy has been ready to play for some days now, and that he shouldn't be on the bench. Do you think that the NBA went too far in making that decision?
No, I don't think the NBA went too far making a decision. And it was actually the right decision, to have an independent, look into it. The NBA did what they had to do because they have to maintain integrity of the game and the league. So the NBA did what they're supposed to do. I don't think they went too far in that.
Okay, fantastic. Well, right now we're going to be going on a short break, and when we come back, we are going to be moving on to the NBA All-Stars. What happened, and what does the new setup of the NBA All-Stars mean for the NBA and the future of basketball? So don't go anywhere, because P&B Sports Show, we'll be right back. Welcome back to P&B Sports Show, where we'll be moving on to our NBA All-Stars. And what does the new system in the NBA All-Star mean for the NBA and for the future of worldwide basketball? But before we get right into that, I want to ask you a question, Abel. You know, we have a Nigerian basketball federation, whereby it just seems like teams can just get players from anywhere and inject them into their team. And we don't really have a stiff system or a pattern in which we can use to bring players into the league. And you can just get players from anywhere. What do you think about that system? And do you think that the NBBF should adopt the style that the NBA takes into drafting players every season?
Okay, you know, if you are talking about MBBF, there's a whole lot that needs to be done in that federation. A whole lot. There needs to be an overhaul of that system. The reason why I said so was I was I have opportunity to talk to the media man on P&B Sports Show. I think like last year or so, and he was telling me about how they are trying to see how they could track players, having transfer of players rather. Then have a site that they will register each of these players, and so they will know how players move from one club to another, and thereabout. But it's quite unfortunate that we're having a league that don't even keep data. Do you understand? I can bet you now that last season finals, or what happened last season at the final at Port Harcourt, NBA does not have the data. It's quite unfortunate. I'm sorry I'm saying this now. They don't even have the data. If you go to their site, you don't see anything there. If I want to find anything about Nigerian basketball, I rather go to Hoopers. And there's nothing there actually. With Royal Hooper, is that supposed to be the case? You don't even have a handle that you can do. Then how can you even say you want to even compare it to the NBA when they cannot even see how they will organize their own house? I know that's the story for another day. But you're asking me if they can adopt some system. But the question I'm going to ask you, do NBA have the capacity to do that?
Well, do you think that the draft impact like NBA has been for years? Now moving forward to the NBA All-Stars, you know, we saw an All-Star finals where we could see the young stars, you know, beat the veterans 47-21 to win the NBA All-Star. I'm going to start with you, Moody. Do you think that this is a solution to the All-Star problem, where we just see players taking the All-Star like a joke, but now they might just see a need to take it serious?
Well, I don't think it's a solution. A lot of people celebrated it. I watched the All-Star weekend. I was not impressed with it. The only thing I liked about it, yes, was the world versus the idea that the world was going to compete versus team American basketball players, team USA players was exciting. But you see this round robin format of 3 teams, it doesn't make sense, because first of all, you are playing the whole game for 12 minutes. You know, it removes the shine and the feel of the whole game. So I have that thought the NBA, yes, I like it, because the incentive of Team World versus Team USA played 48 minutes in one game. And I don't think the USA players will lose, and the people like Wembiyama and the other guys, the SG, not to win, is a pride thing at that point. The players will give maximum effort. Yes, they gave maximum effort, but you know, the format they used did not make the game was not enjoyable. It was short. Look at the Team Stars and Team Strikes. You know, you just played for 12 minutes. Yes, I know a lot of people like, I'm sure you know, they're like, oh, finally the youngsters. No. You know, it looks like a real game to me, because the real game has highs and lows, you know, has combat, you know, has, you know, people build themselves into a game. So it was just a short game. It didn't even give the players time to build tempo, acclimatize. I don't even know the coaching strategy you want to use in a 12-minute game. For an NBA player, these are players that used to play 48 minutes. I don't know what those games in the NBA, you know, they go almost 3 hours, you know, timeouts, maybe like 10 seconds for almost like 2 minutes. So I don't think this is solution. A lot of people just, you know, they're excited to see something different. But going forward, I don't think this is, you know, this is something, because I wasn't even excited about it. It was too short. So before you look, it was over, you know. we didn't really see. I honestly believe it was the full game, Team USA versus Team World. You'd have seen Kawhi because Kawhi was really on fire, you know. You'd have seen KD, you'd have seen Corey, you'd have seen Wembanyama, you'd have seen SG. You know, go against yourself.
Yes.
So for this idea of a round robin, I'm not for it. I don't think it's solve the problem. The only thing is, yes, I like the idea of the Team World and Team US, but for the former, he wasn't a quick fix, you know. People are just excited for nothing because I wasn't excited about it.
Okay, fantastic. Now, you know, every time I like to bring it back home, you know, to Nigeria, because how do we talk about the NBA if we're not talking about the NBBF? Abel, don't you think that we should have a league in Nigeria, you know, that should copy something like this, you know, that should copy an all-star game? If I remember correctly, I think there was a time when we used to have the DSTV basketball league in Nigeria, and we used to have all-star games. Don't you think that we should go back to that particular format?
You're thinking also, just like somebody is still in primary school, you're introducing that to a course, maybe just 111 or something, you know, this course. And then that's what you're trying to do in the end. No disrespect, I'm sorry, no disrespect, but I think that's what you're trying to do. But if you can get such a thing, why not? I think it's going to be good. But I want to say something about what Moody said earlier. He spoke about, he said he's nice because of the time, he's not excited about it. But I think one significant thing I picked out of these changes is the inclusion of the youngsters. I think that one also gives a whole lot of vibe in it. But if they can add more time to those games, I think it will be better. They can add more, not just 12 minutes like you rightly said. You can add more time. Maybe if they can play the All-Star game like 2 or 3 days, I know there's no time. But if they can do that, that would have
okay.
They play around each game 1-1-1-1.
Okay.
We'll go to fight. But back to what you're saying, that if you can have do we have the structure? I'm sorry I'm hammering on MBBF today. I'm sorry, I'm doing that. But do we have the structure?
Moody, wait, hold on. Moody, do we have the structure in Nigeria to do something like that?
We don't have it.
Okay, we don't have it. Okay, Abel, back to you.
We don't have a good league yet. We don't have it. I mean, to even have a league for 1 month, the problem in Nigeria. You're talking about having an all-star game. It's not possible.
Okay. Abel.
Many of us argue. Many of us even
Abel.
Why don't you go past this thing too? Remember when Amedo was in the studio on Saturday?
Yes.
And Josiah, we talked about this. Why don't you pass the back to the private sector and argue? But like, no. It doesn't like that. But for me, I think that's the best way.
Abel, I know that if we leave you to continue talking about this particular thing, that you can talk about it till next week because of the pain I can see on because of the pain I can see on your face. But you mentioned something. You spoke about the youngsters playing the older generation. You know, playing players like Kevin Durant and LeBron James. Come on, LeBron James is just 40. He's 41 years. You can say right now he's the oldest player in the NBA. Don't you? How do you see his transition, you know, into playing? And what difference do you think it's made when he was playing the youngsters? Because I remember there's a parable that you always give. You say players are like flowers. Yes.
Yes, I think arguably, I'm not even a fan of LeBron James, to be honest. I am not. But you must give him kudos because I think the longevity, the Ravens have proven it so far, and he has broken so many records. So you must give him that statistic, that stat. You must give it to him that yes, he has done so well. But I think this All-Star game basically is just you entertaining people, just catch fun and stuff like that. But the inclusion, like I earlier said, the inclusion of the younger guys playing, having the opportunity to ordinarily, I don't think most of these guys might even have opportunity to play the All-Star. But for the fact that they could have opportunity to play against these guys in the All-Star, I think that's just the beauty of it for me.
Okay, fantastic. I'm going to come back to you in 1 minute. Moody, just tell us, what do you think about Anthony Edwards' performance in the All-Stars? And don't you think that that players like Victor Wembanyama should have just gotten to the finals of the NBA All-Star and could have also won the NBA All-Stars as well? What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, no, the thing I like about Edward is he's always up for, to give a performance. He's someone that, is always, is always competitive. When you call him up, he's always, you know what to get from the platform. And that's why I come back to, you would have just had it in World and Team USA because they would have actually seen these two guys go head to head. You would have seen, it would have been like the Olympics. You would have seen Corey, Anthony Edwards, LeBron, KD, and everybody going head to head, They would have actually had a real, it would have been intriguing, Not this your round robin nonsense. You need 12 minutes before your load is over, before you go and take a pee, the game is almost done. So, yes, I think the NBA Raptors of the new classic war, kill the world, and I really get to see people like Jokic and Doncic. We really get to see that the things we thought we were going to see.
Okay, fantastic.
So, like I said, they treat this format, World versus USA, one game, 48 minutes.
Okay, fantastic. But I'm going to ask you one last question, Moody. Who do you think should go for who do you think should be the first pick in the next NBA draft? Do you think it's AJ Diabansa, Cameron Boozer, or Darion Peterson? Who do you think goes first?
You know the truth. You can't go wrong with any of them. I can't actually say which of them because you've seen them like Cameron Boozer and Duke. You see, you can't really go wrong with any of them. So that's why you see this tanking madness. So if you pick any of them, you pick right. It's just like having three when the guy has the ones that pick. So if you look, the truth is that's why you see teams are crazy. So among these three guys you call, if you pick any of them, but then again it depends on the team and your needs. But I think you can't go wrong.
No, okay.
And you get any of them.
Fantastic. Well, and that is it for today. Moody Abel, thank you for your outstanding insights. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
It's clear that whether we are talking about draft picks or all-star MVPs, the stakes in this league have never been higher. But we want to hear from our viewers. Who is your pick for the number one overall spot in the 2026 NBA draft? AJ Diabansa or Peterson? Head over to our page and let us know. Make sure you follow us on all our social media platforms for more sports updates and sports analysis. At YouTube at Politics&BusinessTV.English, Facebook at Politics&BusinessTV.English, Instagram at PNBTV_English, and on X, formerly Twitter, on PNBTV_ENG. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel so you never miss a debate. I'm Alcott Tom and this has been PNB Sports Show. We'll see you next time for more sports insights. Bye-bye.